And this is your Monday morning headline. The closing of state-run psychiatric hospitals has filled county jails with people who should not be there, according to several Tennessee sheriffs. Coffee County Sheriff Chad Parton and Franklin County Sheriff Tim Fuller say deputies are often forced to arrest mental health patients in emergency rooms. Many of those arrested had been waiting days for a bed to open at a psychiatric hospital. Sheriff Fuller said, "I've seen as high as 9 days sitting in a hospital emergency room. You put them in a 10 by 10 room with just an examination table and a chair, and they are stuck there for days. Any sane person is going to act out." Sheriff Parton says, once admitted to the emergency room, suicidal patients are often placed on a mental health hold, meaning they cannot leave. If they do not have insurance, they must wait for an opening at a state psychiatric hospital. The sheriffs say the long wait often leads to arrests. We do not in law enforcement feel like someone seeking mental health treatment is a criminal at all, Sheriff Fuller said. Patients in the midst of mental health crisis are arrested for disorderly conduct, assault, and resisting arrest. Nurses in Coffee County's 2 hospitals call for help almost daily. "Can we get police officers here really quickly? We have an enraged psych patient," said a nurse in a 911 call from Vanderbilt Tullahoma Heart and Hospital in April. Another nurse from Unity Hospital in Manchester in January was recorded saying, "We've got a mental patient out here that just assaulted the physician, and he's also trying to tear up our facility." The sheriff said many of these arrests involve patients on mental health hold who are simply trying to leave. "He's currently on the side of the road and we can't get him back inside the building," said a nurse from Unity Hospital in July. Helen Moore first told us that she waited 4 days inside the emergency room at Unity Hospital in Coffee County. "I wanted to go home," she said. And when she stated that she wanted to go home, what she was told, "If I tried to go home, I would be arrested." There was a bed. There was no chair, no window, no television, no radio, no magazine, and no colors on the wall. She was suicidal, and doctors determined she needed to go to a psychiatric hospital, but she did not have insurance. She was then told that they were waiting for a psychiatric unit to accept her, and they didn't know how long that would be or where that would be. "There's a lot of people like Helen out there," Sheriff Parton said, particularly in our part of the state. Parton has seen many like her get restless and get arrested. "You put me in that room and you're going to see me act out and get arrested," Parton says. Scott Ward brought his fiancée, Shannon Hickerson, to the ER in a mental health crisis. "She was just out of it. She didn't know who she was or what was going on," Ward said. "But instead of getting help, she was arrested for disorderly conduct." "She was embarrassed about being in jail. She'd never been arrested in her whole life," Ward says. Nurses called for help because she was yelling and unruly, and as a result, she spent 2 days in jail. "She doesn't hardly have any recollection of jail when I talk to her. She's kind of like in and out, wondering why she was on a concrete floor," says Ward. The sheriffs say that the state needs more mental health beds, especially for people without insurance. The number of state-run psychiatric beds has plummeted since 1996. That year, state officials said there were 1,114 public staffed psychiatric beds. By 2006, that number had fallen to 980. As of last year, it was down to 577. The state doesn't like us to say this. They look at us like we've lost our minds, but the number 1 mental health facility in the state of Tennessee, unfortunately, is the county jail, says Sheriff Fuller. These sheriffs say something needs to change. We cannot continue to lock these people up. A lot of them are not criminals, they're just having a bad day in search of help. And on that happy note, we're going to kick it back to Lorante for your school of the day and your 7-day forecast. Lorante, what's the weather look like?